This episode is about receiving what you desire in unexpected ways and forms, and how to connect up with that. The Embody podcast accompanies you on your journey of remembering and embodying your true nature, integration and alignment with your vibrational clarity, self-love, and living a life of beauty and wholeness. It's a menu of transformative healing tools, experientials, meditations, and practices from a blend of family constellations, somatic therapies, and holistic and spiritual practices, sprinkled with vulnerable conversations with people who have the courage to be themselves, Alive Now episodes with updates on my personal process, and reverie episodes that are spiritual succulents that honor, reveal, hug, shake, or stir you into love. I'm your host, Candice Wu, integrative and intuitive healing facilitator and artist. Welcome back to the Embody podcast. It's really lovely to have you here. And thank you so much for listening. I just have received such beautiful messages from some of you recently that you've been listening for a couple of years, that certain episodes have touched you or really hit the spot on what you've wanted or really needed to either break open, to get in touch with yourself, or to take the next step in your life. I love hearing these stories from you, and when something just speaks to you. If you ever send me a message and you don't hear back from me, it's probably because it went to my spam, and I'm trying my best to check that on a weekly basis. But if you ever do message me for a session or a consultation or to share or ask a question and you don't get a response within a reasonable time frame, just reach out again. I love hearing from all of you, and it really feeds me. It feeds me just as much as the monetary donations that you have shared and the support you give to the podcast by liking it or sharing it out to friends. So thank you from the bottom of my heart, from my whole heart. So this episode evolved from a recent experience I had where something unexpected happened. And at first it seemed like, I don't want this. And it felt kind of upsetting. And then it turned out to be exactly what both I wanted and the people involved wanted. And also the things that we experienced were really delightful, that were maybe not what we intended, but it turned out to be just really lovely. So I want to share that experience and how it connects up with this idea of honing in on what you deeply desire. And what I mean is the deeper experience and feeling that you want to have in your life or in certain areas of your life beyond the form that something might come in. So you may think or say you want to have a family with 2 kids, or you want a dog, or you want a job that fulfills you in all these different ways. And I think it's beautiful and lovely and important to clarify exactly what something might look like. And you might even do envisioning practices or vision boards, visualization. But one of the most key parts to any of those practices to magnetize what you want towards you, but what I really mean to say is to vibrate at the energy of what you desire, to vibrate at that frequency that says, this is what I want, this is what I'm ready for, and this is already me. The experience that you want to have, the emotional state and energetic state that you would have out of whatever it is that you want in your life. That's what gives the signal out to the world, to our surroundings, to all the key players to say, here I am. There's a space for what I want to sync up in frequency. And so when I say frequency, I really mean to vibrate at the emotional and energetic state of what you will feel when you have what you want. And we can access that through sometimes just directly. If you can distill what you want into an emotion or a feeling sense, and then feel it and let your body vibrate at that frequency, then the things that will bring you that are really in your vortex, as Abraham Hicks would say, in your alignment, that are rightfully for you or synced up for you in the blueprint of your being, will come. So I get caught up a little when I have an idea of what I want and it comes in a certain format. And even if I'm connecting with the emotions and the energy, like let's say whatever I want will bring me peace and joy and connection. And I feel that peace and joy and connection. I feel worthy of it. I work out any pieces of my being that feel unworthy. I work out any belief sets that block this from coming to me or being who I am. But then I can get attached to the form or the format of which I have envisioned it. So very specifically, I'll tell it in this story first, and then I'll relate it to other parts of my life that I'm finding this connection in. But I just went on a camping trip to the Smoky Mountains in North Carolina area. I drove from Michigan, 12 hours it took me. It's a 10-hour drive, and I wanted to go straight and get there before dark, pitch my tent, have something to eat, and go to sleep, get ready for a day of mountain biking the next day. I knew I was going to stop for firewood, so I did that. I had meals for the road. I had a plan for what I was going to cook that night. So kind of planned everything out. I saw in my mind, what this might look like. And I had reserved a site number 46. And when I reserved it on the campsite website, it seemed like the campsite was getting pretty full. So I reserved it for 3 nights. And when I arrived, things did not go as planned or as I thought they would. There was somebody in my site, on my campsite. And the weird thing was there was like hardly anybody else there because it had stormed. And it seemed like people had left and decided not to weather the storms. It wasn't raining by the time I got there, which I thought it might be. But 3 people were on my campsite. And I asked them, hey, which campsite are you on? Because I think you're on mine. And they said 47. So yes, in fact, they were on my site, not on 47. And they were staying 1 night, which by the looks of the reservation site, I didn't know if I took their site, 47, and I was staying for 2 more nights, would I be taking up someone else's spot if I didn't, or would I have to move back to my site in the morning? I didn't want to do that. It just sounded like a real bother, actually. And I explained that to them. Well, I could do that, but this would be undesirable. And they said, well, we can move, but it's going to take a minute. The woman was cooking, and there was a whole lot of stuff set up on their site. It was like a giant tent, rafts, lights, like Christmas lights around their tent, and all these things rigged to the trees for their laundry, plus a tarp over their campsite. They were well prepared, but that would have taken a while. And, now looking back, the most obvious answer came just a few minutes later, but in the moment we were all a bit flustered and uncertain of what to do. But we did arrive I asked them to help me set up my tent quickly so I could have dinner. And then if they could help me in the morning when they cleaned up and left. My tent isn't that hard to set up, but it is way easier with more than one person. And I wasn't sure how long it would take me or if the dark would set in. And I was hungry, so I just wanted to eat first, but didn't want to leave the tent till later. So this actually worked out to be the better scenario. And it took 5 minutes for us to set up the tent. And then, to my surprise, they asked me if I wanted to have some of the food they cooked. So I didn't even have to cook. And then I brought out my firewood and they were like, yes, because I said, you're welcome to join me on my fire here. And one guy even wanted to set it all up. So they were really excited because they had not been able to stop for firewood and they wanted a fire. So it was almost like we all got what we wanted or needed in the end. And to top it off, we laughed all night, but we even got to bed early. And I just heard so many stories from them that were lovely. And I enjoyed the experience so much. The next day, they said, why don't you go ahead and mountain bike and we will move your tent as soon as we're done with our stuff. And by nighttime, when I got back, there was a sweet note that they had left behind for me. And the whole area was quiet and kind of lonely, actually. And it was just a great start to my week-long trip in that area. And I will say it was probably one of the best experiences of the trip, especially because it was so unexpected. So it does sound a little bit like let the unexpected happen or let yourself be surprised was the message for me. But also what I'm getting today is what I started off the podcast with saying is that I want to be open to experiences and feeling states that I want that come in a different form than I expect or that I have dreamt up or that I have envisioned. And to let go or detach from the form that I think something might come in, to open up to whatever way something wants to arrive, whatever way I can receive the experience and the feelings that I want to experience. This also connects up with a little bit of the idea of when you do, at least when I found that I connect up with the feelings and emotions and energetic state and vibrate in my being with those feelings, it opens up the doors for the experiences that match it to come in. Or if there's like a theme of my life, like taking care of my body or trusting myself, focusing on that general theme and how it feels rather than focusing on working everything out in my life in a way that gives me the feeling in a secondhand way, but just to align to what I really desire at a deeper level and then let all the pieces fall into place. This is especially helpful when I'm in a bind or some sort of situation or a relationship where I'm not sure how to move forward or how to back out or how to navigate. But if I just focus on what do I want to experience? What am I about here for me? What is the deeper experience that I want for myself, or the deeper way of being that I desire? And then I just let the people around me and the situation around me do whatever it needs to do. And I almost see it like when I'm syncing up with what is aligned for me, what is calibrating me to myself, it almost sends that energetic signal outward, and everything in that space around me feels that energy on some conscious or unconscious level, but it finds its way. Since I'm still dating, this is really something, because I can get confused sometimes on what I'm in an interaction for, or sometimes I'm still working out, do I want to experience this even though maybe I don't see this relationship for a long term, or maybe this is giving me something that I want to experience. Maybe this is a long-term possibility because I'm in the point in my journey that I do want a long-term partner, but I don't want to miss out on experiencing things that I find pleasurable or interesting. So while I'm in that experience, it's interesting, because sometimes I'll find a connection that I'm getting something out of, or I want to relate in some way. I can feel, because my deeper desire is getting stronger and stronger kind of naturally, and also with my own work, my own attention rather, it can make it look like rejection. Like it can feel like rejection, where like someone just disappears or drops off the interaction, or finds that that's not right for them, or I find it. And why I'm saying this is that I could focus on that hurt, and sometimes I do, or sometimes I feel that. But I've been looking more towards this quality of, yep, they got out of the way because they're not truly the fullness of what I want, or this experience is not. And those things are moving out of my path or destroying. And it's ultimately clearing the space and helping me get to or receive and magnetize what I do deeply desire. So I'm going back to the thought of letting go of what form things need to take to satisfy what you desire. And I've really had to let go of some of the forms in which I think things will come in my life, and just letting myself align to what I want to feel in the now and in this next period of my life, and flowing with what comes my way, and flowing with when it looks like rejection, but trusting and seeing where things are, the moving parts are moving, so that I can receive what I want. Do you have this in your life? Or is there a place in your life that this could be applied, or that you want to apply this so that you can find exactly what you want. You can have what exactly you want. And it's actually the easier way, even though it seems like it's harder on some levels in my mind or in my past mind. I think I used to be so used to like putting effort in relationships around me, putting effort on the ground to make something happen. But when I work with my energy, when I work with my inner being to line up with the source of me, the source of what I want, and work with my vibration and my energy, it works itself out outside of me. But I do need to have the capacity to be with how things shake up or stir or fall apart around me, and also to receive things when they do come, especially when they come in a form that I'm not expecting. Have you had any experiences where you thought, well, this is not what I was expecting, but it's actually better? And can you plug into how that felt such that you allowed it into your life? Or maybe there's a moment that you passed up that could have been like that. Might be interesting to notice that, or to see if there's anything right now that you're resisting or feeling like you're saying no to, where that no or that maybe that's inside of you is based on some sort of framework or idea of what should be or could be, or the way you thought it should be, or based on ideas that just don't really hold up anymore. So that's all I wanted to share today. Just this little reminder to sync up with your power, the power in you to transform and to open and to connect and to sync up your being with the vibration that you already are and with the vibration of what you desire that's within you, to attract and open it up outside of you, to send out the signals that you are ready for what you desire and you are already what you desire. And a little disclaimer that this isn't always easy. And this wasn't always my view either. So this may not fit for you right now. If you've had a lot of trauma or are feeling unsafe in your body's feeling overwhelmed, you're very stressed, your situation feels really dire, but you don't have the inner capacity right now to access this experience, it can feel very hard to access that. And it's not something to criticize or judge yourself over that you can't do it. And it's not some place to receive shame about. It just may not be the right tool for you right now, or the right way to connect in to your desires or to what you want. But if there is the possibility of it, I do find that it's extremely powerful. Well, that's all for today. Thanks for listening. And it's, again, wonderful to have you here. If you want to offer a contribution to the podcast, feel free, if you're in the US or you can access Venmo, to send me a Venmo at Candice-Wu-2, Candice with an I. Or if you're outside of the US and you use Revolut, you could send me something there, or even send me cryptocurrency. You can find all that information or use credit card at candicewu.com/support. And on that page, there are also some things that you can receive, gifts you can receive, groups you can join, personal meditations, sleep album, the sound sleep album, the death experiential, and other things that you can purchase or exchange for. And all that money goes to support the podcast. And one last shout out I want to offer is that on Clubhouse, 2 fellow healers and practitioners that I respect and I have been having hour-long conversations around topics of trauma, healing, pleasure, embodiment, attuning to our bodies. And it's been awesome to connect with those of you who have joined, because it's a two-way conversation. It's not just this one way where I'm talking to you, but if you feel inclined to, you can also join in and just say hi or share your experience or ask questions. And it's great for me to, great chance to connect with you. You can find the next conversation. It's every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern USA time. And the next one will be August 17th. And you can find it at candicewu.com/clubhouse to follow my profile, and then you should get the announcements there. Or if you use the link candicewu.com/EHC, that should connect you up with the next upcoming one when we post that link. It's the Embodied Healing Collective is the group that we're calling it, and would love for you to join us. Thanks so much for tuning in today to the Embody podcast, and I'll see you next time.